So, hello everybody, welcome back. So, I wanted to continue with the series about the food. I wanted to mention some things that again might be universal, and then some specifics depending upon the type of ability that you have with cooking things. So before I continue, I wanted to remind you that down below is my email in case that you want to help me out by sending an Amazon gift card, and you can also check out my books in Gumroad if you like. So anyway, so here's the deal. Most people, when it comes to food, they ask directly, how much food should I store? That is not the first question that you should ask yourself when it comes to food. The first question that you should ask yourself is, where am I going to put the food that I am storing? Because you cannot, it's like you having a baby and then coming home, and when you come home with the baby, you try to figure out where you're going to put it. Oh, hell no, you gotta figure out where the hell are you going to put the food first, because otherwise you're going to go crazy. So, also, you might want to consider securing that particular place from animals, as in make sure that if it has windows, you want them to have like a mosquito net or something so that no animal will get there, because we have had several problems when it comes to people that have stored food. So number one, most people store food in their kitchens, but here's the deal: we have cats that are going everywhere, including other people's houses. So those cats will eat your food. Um, Other animals might get into, you know, your kitchen, and then they will also eat your food. So you also, like I said, you want to keep like a mosquito net or something in the window so that no animal will get through. And you got to keep the place dry, and you want to keep a rechargeable light bulb in that area, so that in case that there is a power outage, you will know, you can get there and you can access the food with no problem whatsoever. You also, if you have the money and the space, you want to buy a fridge, but I do not recommend vertical ones, because if you open them, they will lose the ice and the coolness very, very fast. But if you buy the ones that are horizontal, you will be able to conserve food for more days, because the ice it becomes like frost around the device. It will keep things cooler for longer. Like I said, you also want to have a normal fridge. If you live in your car, you might want to buy an ice maker that you can plug into your car with all the inverters and stuff like that, so that you can make your own ice, and then you can get an ice chest, and you can also buy a very small fridge that goes for cars. Because this is very important when there is no power and whatsoever. Ice is going to be gone like within minutes or hours, and if you are counting on ice from the stores, good luck with that. So no, no, you need to actually buy these things. Also, like I said, you might want to think not just in terms of the food per se, but also the things that you need to cook them with, the fuel, and then the devices per se in which you're cooking, like ovens, grills, whatsoever, and things like that. Now, like I said, this is important. If you are going to trade your skill for food and stuff like that, you might need to buy fuel tablets and stuff for the person that is cooking, so that they can make it easier, because it's not easy cooking and doing everything and then also having to get the fuel and stuff like that. So you might need to consider that. You also need to consider the cleaning supplies for the cooking things. And at this point, you might want to consider buying universally for everyone white vinegar, like a hell of a lot of white vinegar, because that will save you water. It will save you, you can use it for several things, including, but not limited to, preserving food. Like you can cut vegetables and you can put them with vinegar and water and salt and sugar and stuff, and you can make, you know, vegetables that will last very long time and stuff like that. And you know, you might want to learn a few skills that have to do with you know, making food from scratch, like making sourdough, making yeast, you know, and other things. I have several of these activities in the two books that I wrote first, which were about unusual activities to try for the quarantine or any time, because right now it's a good time for you to learn about these things, because they will be very good also. Because yeast is something that you know, is very, very valuable, and not everybody knows how to make it. And there are two types of yeast: the ones that have oxygens and the ones that do not have oxygen and stuff. So you need to be very, very careful about that. And anyway, I'm deviating from the topic because, like I said, most people, you know, say, I'm going to buy the baby and then I'm going to go home with it. Oh, hell no, you gotta prepare everything before you get there. So, like I said, you know, you try to prepare that setting also in a way that it has something so that things do not fall, organizers, stuff like that. I don't know. Whatever it is that you think is best. And then after you buy, you know, the vinegar, the sponges. Oh, hell, sponges is something that, you know, it's just like not affordable. Most people can't afford sponges, and sponges is something that you are going to use for everything. So you need to buy, you know, all the supplies that are universal: sponges, brushes, white vinegar, you know, all these things. Also, at this point, now I'm going to tell you a few things that you might want to consider. Like I said in my books about activities that you might want to learn, you might want to learn how to make broth, because here's the deal. When you have hard times, you don't have water, and the water is very expensive. If you are in a very, very, very deep hole, like you haven't had electricity for a week, and you haven't have water for a week, in the city, you might, you know, some people will trade fuel for water, and the exchange is about, roughly, because, you know, it will depend upon where you are, but 2 liters of water will cost you about a liter of fuel. So, oh hell, that's a hell of a lot, you know, because 2 gallons of water will equal 1 gallon of fuel. Do you have any idea what the hell you can do with 1 gallon of fuel? It's a hell of a lot of, you know, resources to trade for water. But if you store broth that you made yourself, either frozen or whatever, you know, you will have enough water in there to save yourself more water from cooking. So in the broth, you can make rice, you can make soups, you can make, you know, pasta and beans and a hell of a lot of things. So you might want to consider either buying those that already come in Tetra Pak things, or you might want to consider, you know, making it and then, you know, storing it by yourself. You also might want to consider freezing potable water, because during hard times it's very hard to get water, and also when you have to give people tips and stuff, or you have somebody who is coming over to work for you, you might need to give them water, and if you don't have any water, you will have to you know, spend the ones that you already have in your reserve. But if you have them frozen, you will have water that, you know, you are not counting on that, because you it's like zero. You already have it there, but it's frozen, so it's good, you know. So most people will freeze some amount of water for hard times, because it will also be cooler in summer, and then that way, you know, you don't have to open the fridge that much and stuff like that. So in terms of food, you have to consider all of these things. They are universal. Now, what amount do you want to store? So, like I said, now I'm going to be very specific for certain cases. Number one, if you are in a diet of gluten-free things or whatever, you are not getting those products because making something, like let's say that somebody has oatmeal and they want to make it gluten-free. If you want to make it gluten-free, it has to go through a process because oatmeal is naturally with gluten. But if you want it gluten-free, you have to process it. That means that it requires power. It means that you cannot just do this by hand. You require power. There are several things that require power to be done, like corn kind of oil, like processed food and in general and stuff like that. But the higher the end, meaning the more specific it is, like gluten-free, no peanut-free, things-free, whatever the hell it says free, or hell, that is very difficult to do without power. Now, this means that the store might be able to sell you only what they already have in the store. They might not get a new supply of this kind of food, especially for a while. Because once the machinery stops in a factory, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks to go back to normal, as in reproducing this food. That means that the shortage might be anything from 3 weeks to a month and a half, if the power comes back in after 1 week. At that point, I don't know if you can last 1 month and a half without that kind of food. So the minimum amount that I will recommend for getting the things that are very specific, like you can't go without it because it's gluten-free or whatever, otherwise you can't eat anything or things like that. If you are in that position, then your storage should be at the bare minimum should be 3 months. However, if you're like me, that you can eat anything, then your storage can be 2 or 3 weeks and you will be okay, because you will be able to find a hell of a lot of food and there will be people trading food and stuff like that, and you will be okay. So what is your situation? I do not know. I have the situation of me, which is I can eat anything. But my mom can't. She needs to be gluten-free and stuff like that. Now, at this point, there is also something very, very, very important. You need to print from the internet recipes on how to make baby formula and how to make geriatric food that is very specific for the elderly, because that kind of thing, like baby formula and food for the elderly, that is like in the lowest of the priority for shipments and production and stuff like that, because it is very expensive, and because even if somebody was able to produce them again, people will actually fight you. I have said this in the other videos. People will actually stab other people for the baby formula and the diapers, for both babies and adults, like geriatric, because there is nothing that you will not do to protect your baby or your elderly mother or your elderly father, So most teens and most adults will do whatever the hell it takes to protect those two groups, especially if they are loved ones. So it's very important that you know how to do this with your hands. Like, for example, baby formulas are made out of certain oils, and they are kind of easy to make, but you need to you need to print the recipes. And in case that you have problems for getting some of these ingredients, you might be able to figure out how to mix them or something like that. So you might want to talk to a nutritionist and maybe a doctor or something, because think about it. Baby formula is made with electricity. there was a time in which there was no electricity. So how the hell did people manage to have their babies and not die, and not make them die by starvation? Because most women did not have some women did not have breast milk or whatever. So it's very important. They did it with certain oils and stuff like that. They are for the baby's brain, and the elderly, they require certain kind of food that has to be with broth and stuff like that. So again, this is why you want to have these at hand, and you want to have these printed, and at least maybe 10 or 20 different kind of recipes, in case that you don't get one, you can get another one or something like that, or a variation or something. I do not know. It will depend upon your situation, and it will depend upon the disaster that you're experiencing. Because if you have power and you have money and people are trading and stuff, you might not be in such a bad deal. However, if you don't have power, you don't have water, you don't have fuel, and now there is propane war going on, and then you don't know what the hell, then you might be in a better, in a bigger problem, especially like I said, with people that are problematic with their food, because you're not going to be able to find that kind of food, and even if you find it, it's going to be more expensive. So you want to have that into consideration, the minimum amounts that you want to get, and the printed things that you want to get. Now, for all the three groups, you want to print a list of spices and their uses, so that you can make your food, taste good, even if you have no idea what the hell you're doing. Because let's say that somebody, you were able to find cinnamon today, and that's the only thing that you have for cooking, and then you go crazy and you don't know how to use it or whatever, but you have cinnamon. So now you can either trade it, or you can use it for making desserts, and then you can also use it for certain chocolates and stuff like that, and certain beverages and stuff like that. So you need to know a little bit about the spices, not about how to cook with them, but about the spicer per se. Like this one, it's used like this. This one is for chicken. This one is for rice. This one is for pork, whatever. You kind of have to have an idea. And some people are incredible. Like I said, like my mother, they are gifted. They are like 5% of the population is gifted like that. They just have to smell the spices, and they will know what they are used, and they will know exactly how to use it, and they will know, the amounts, and they will make it work like, oh my God, like if it was a freaking miracle. And it's like, even if they are a ward, they will survive, and they will make everyone thrive through their food. But if you're not like that, meaning you belong to the 80% of the population like me, oh hell no, then you need a freaking guide or something. Like I said, also you might want to get into a group that has to do with trading food and stuff like that. Because if you now have a hell of a lot of food and you do not know how to cook, or you are looking for something specific, like I said, baby formula, or maybe you're looking for gluten-free things or something or whatever. I mean, hell, for all I know, you might have found baby formula that is made out of soy, and then that one, you don't care if your baby has that one, but other babies are allergic to baby formula normal, so they need it with soy. So you might need this thing. So that group, if you didn't have it before, then now it's going to be even a bigger problem trying to create it, and try to add people, and try to get the people to know each other and the dynamics and stuff like that. So it will be good to have that kind of group already set up, that has to do only with local people, because obviously you can't travel 6 hours to try to get something, unless it is something that you put in the group, and then you ask if somebody here knows whatever, we can pay the shipment and stuff like that. But it will be very, very specific, like for example, when your baby cannot eat any kind of formula, and it has to be the soya kind of formula and stuff like that, then you probably will have to travel 6 hours to try to get that freaking thing. But other than that, you want to try to get that group working. You want to try to know people in restaurants and stuff like that, like the chefs or the waitresses in restaurants and stuff like that, because that way, if you're looking for something, they might be able to provide a little bit from the restaurants. Some people, when they want to get something specific, they will go to a restaurant and ask, hey, can you sell me a little bit of the flour? In fact, in here, what they did is that the bakeries were able to find flour, but people were not able to find flour. So the bakeries will use half of the flour, and then they will sell the other half for triple the price, meaning they were making money out of selling their own supplies. So bakeries, restaurants and stuff, they will sell you the prime materials that they're using, but they will only do it if they know you. Because if they don't know you, then they can get into trouble with police or whatever. They can say that they are hoarding. They can say that you are being favoritism with somebody else or whatever. So that relationship must be established now, because otherwise you're not going to get it. And also because the amount they have is not that big. You might think they have plenty of supplies, but they don't. They have limited access to the same things that you do, but only they buy bulk. They buy big and stuff like that. So you might want to consider going to your local restaurant, your local thing. Go talk to the waiters. Go talk to the manager. Ask them. Good. Try to make a good relationship with them, and then you can tell them, hey, if there is any problem, do you think that you are going to sell the supplies or whatever? But you're not going to say that right now. Obviously, you are trying to just make the connection, and then you ask them later on if that is their case, because like I said, half of the places will sell you the things, the other half will not, because they want they just won't. They will keep it for their family and other people. So hell no, they will only keep it for a certain circle, but there are others that will share it or sell it, and then you have to figure out how the hell. And very likely they're going to ask only for cash. They are not going to take money transactions whatsoever that it can be traced, because like I said, they can get into trouble, especially if if there is an enforcement from the local government saying that they have to provide the bread for everyone or whatever. So it's also like a thing with accounting. So you need to know your own situation, and you need to know that this is going to cost you a lot, but it's going to be an alternative, and it's going to be in cash. Also very important, like I said, you need to figure out when things are counterfeited and stuff like that. You need to have supplies for cleaning. You need to find supplies for wrapping paper, like plastic wrapping paper, aluminum foil, and stuff like that. Very important. You also want to find a lot of plastic cups, so that you can share the food with everybody else, and then you can use those for other uses. And you do not need to throw them out, but you can use them for something else, like gardening or other purposes. So you might want to consider that one, especially if you have people that will come over to your place to work. You do not want to clean after them or stuff like that. So you might want to use that, or you can just give them up that, and then they will leave with that. So for example, you give them coffee in the plastic cup, and then they will leave with that. And that way you don't have to clean, you don't have to worry about anything. It's just like the plastic containers that I told you that you shouldn't throw away. And anyway, so having said all of that, what do you want to store? And how much? Like I said, figure out first of all, what are you going to be doing? Because like I said, it doesn't make sense for example, let's say that I'm a guy who is 27 and I'm a plumber. So if I'm a plumber, oh hell, I'm going to be working all day long in outside, whatever. And I don't have time or money or resources to be cooking and then standing in line and then working and then doing all of these things. So the most makes sense for me will be trading my work for things. That means that my main concern will be having the proper tools for working and the bare minimum of food that I can actually cook in a rice cooker or something like that. That is very, very, very simple, and I do mean very simple, and something that might not attract anyone. And by the way, this means that everyone should have at least two lunch boxes per person. This one is like, oh my god, this is like totally, totally, totally insane. Most people will steal your lunchbox from your company if you leave it, because lunchboxes are going to be too expensive and they are not going to be, it's one of those things that everyone will need and nobody buys. So you want to have two lunchboxes per person, and you want to make sure that you have, like I said, your thermos and ice chest. Because here's the deal, like I said, most people will not buy the ice chest, and then when they actually need it, they will find out that somebody else always had it, but they didn't. And at this point, you actually need it, like insanely kind of need it. So, like I said, you are alone, you are a guy, and now you need, to figure out how you're going to keep your beer cooled and stuff like that. So what you do is you get the ice chest, you put everything in there, you put you grab your lunch that you already prepared during the night, and it was cooking in the rice cooker. You wake up in the morning, the rice cooker is already done everything, put it in the lunchbox, and then leave. Because hopefully you had power that day. But if you didn't have power, then in the morning you have to run with whatever food you can get in the lunchbox, and then go to work and stuff like that. However, that's not going to be the case for other people. Other people are going to be like with their kids at home, because all the other adults are standing in line to try to get water, preparing whatever. So again, if they are going to go out and standing in line and stuff like that, you need to prepare with lunch boxes for everyone, and you need to have the things for carrying the water, the EDC things that are very, very, very important, that have to do with the food and stuff like that, and then people will be out. However, if you are the one who is cooking and you are the one who is doing all of these, I will really, really, really suggest that you get a compression kind of socks for your legs, because you're going to be standing all day in the heat, in the sun, whatever, and you're going to be moving all over the place, because cooking is not something that you do in 2 minutes. Cooking is something that you're going to do standing up, and you're going to do, with a hell of a lot of work. And you want to have compression socks for these, and you want to have something for grabbing your back, like a back support thing, because you are going to be working like crazy for these. Now, other people might not need, compression socks, but the people that are going to be standing in line and stuff like that, they might need them. So you want to have that, and like I said, at this point, you need to figure out, okay, how many people do I need to prepare this food for, and what will be the purpose of this kind of food? Because it's not the same you saying to someone, okay, here's your lunchbox, and this food has to provide you with energy and everything for the whole day of you working. Let's say that you are the wife of that plumber. That plumber is going to be out of your house at 6 in the morning. Probably even, before that. So 5:30. If he's out the whole entire day, and he's going to come home around 6:30 p.m., oh hell, that amount of food is not the same that you are going to be consuming in your house with your kids. So, and it's also not kind of the same preparation, because that guy, when he goes out, he probably is not going to have access to heating sources or whatever. He's going to probably have to eat them as is. So they require different kind of cooking, because that food needs to stay good the whole day, under any kind of circumstances, because the guy, you do not know if they have access to a fridge or whatever, they're just getting it into the lunchbox and they're leaving. So at that point, that's why you need very good lunchboxes, and you need to identify them with markers and stuff, so that, with permanent kind of markers, and I know it's going to be horrible, whatever, but you need to mark them. And you need to ask them what kind of use are you going to be doing with this thing, and what kind of food are you going to be cooking. Because one thing is what you're planning, and one thing is the other one that you're actually going to be doing. See, if this person, your husband, the plumber, he's going to go out all day, he can't probably, sit down and eat, something that will take him 20 minutes to eat. But he will probably take like a soup or something very easily, and this can be done, differently. So maybe you can do like a broth that you can contain hot inside the lunchbox that is special for this. And then you can do something like, I don't know, because like I said, it will depend upon so many things. But the point is that, for example, you're not going to put a salad in there. Because if you put a salad and the guy hasn't opened that thing and it is 2 p.m. and it's summer, oh hell, that thing is going to go bad. And it will smell horrible. And it will go bad. And you just wasted your food. So you need to figure out, I'm just telling you all of these because we have made so many freaking mistakes and it has cost us so many freaking things. Every time that my mother, for example, prepared something for me when I was going to the freaking making line things, I opened it and then I was like, oh my God, what the hell? Because my mother, for example, in the beginning, we used to make fruit salads and salads and stuff like that. And when I opened it, it was like, Mom, what the hell? So this thing went bad. So it was insane. So first, figure out your own particular situation. Nobody can have the same situation. If somebody tells you this will work for everyone because it's a standard, like rice or whatever, beans, oh hell no. Because, like I said, for example, let's say that you want to cook beans. Okay, fine. Do you know how many hours it takes to cook a bean from scratch? Cooking the freaking bean will take you at least, and I do mean at least, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours of propane. Hell, if you're going to use that in electricity, you don't want to know. So the point is that, do you have any idea how difficult? Do you have any idea how much it will last you, the propane, if you have to cook beans that will take 4.5 hours? Do you have any idea how much the cylinder will last you? So that's why, I tell you, it's not universal because it will depend upon the fuel you have. It will depend upon the use that you're going to give it. If you're going to eat it right away, you can eat anything. But if you need it to last longer inside a container and you have no idea when that person is going to consume it during the whole day, oh hell no, it's different. You can't cook like that. And this is also, like I said, even if you buy, for example, milk. Let's say that you bought milk from the supermarket. When you go home, if you don't have power or the fridge just went out for 12 hours, once you open the refrigerator, you're going to know that the milk is spoiled. You're going to know that the juices, half of them are spoiled. You are going to know that this is bad, this is, kind of like this, that. So you need to calm down and figure out your own situation. After you have figured out your own situation, buy the proper lunchboxes. Mark them. Buy 2 per person. 2. Hell, for all I know, if I had the money and the space, I will buy 3 per person. Because that way, one of them is missing, stolen, whatever. One of them is dirty, and I need to go out right now and I can't spend the time cleaning or whatever. So, I will have 3. No more than that because, they're not going to need or whatever, hopefully. But, if you have the time, like I said, the space and everything, I will put 2 or 3 per person. If you can't afford it, you don't have a space, then get one. But oh my God, if you only get one, you have to be really, really careful of somebody stealing that freaking thing, especially if you have it at your job. So, because like I said, especially if it is branded or looks new or whatever, oh hell, those things get stolen like you have no idea. And it's very important that you also understand if the person is going to have access to probably a microwave when they are going to eat it. Maybe you want to have microwave container things. Maybe you don't need that. Maybe you just want something that is just warm soup. Maybe if you have a diet and you need like creams or stuff, I do not know. Figure out these, because if you don't, and then you buy food, and then you buy and you cook and you do all of these things, you have just wasted propane, which, oh my God, wasting the freaking propane is one of the things that you're going to be like, oh my God, and you're going to go ballistic. Oh hell, the propane. And because it's one of those things that you can't, go into a freaking line, standing in line to try to get propane. I cannot tell you that, hell, okay, I'm going to put it like this. I will rather go and try to get formula, baby formula. Oh hell, the propane lines are, my God. In hard times, people will have propane cylinders that do not have, proper security standards. They have leaks. There are explosions, like one in every, I don't know, probably around 1 in every 8 or something. Lines that you have propane, people, it's exploding. The whole block will explode when people are making these lines. So, oh hell no. You want to try to avoid making the freaking, lanes that have to do with propane. Because it's not like in general times where people are being, with security and everything is done properly and people have security things and things are working. Oh hell, if you have that working with security, with the fire department working and stuff like that, then go ahead. But if you're in hard times and there is no water for the freaking fire department and you don't have any idea what the hell, then you want to avoid at all costs getting the freaking propane. And that's why the propane has to be one of those things that you really want to try to figure out what the hell. And then, after that, like I said, figure out your own terms, figure out everything, and then you figure out a list of things. And from that point, it's going to be easier, okay? So anyway, I hope that this is helpful.